right, we're back again with me rambling about some nonsense. This time for 7 minutes because this drawing is only about 7 minutes. It's only about half the drawing. The file's been sitting on my desktop for probably 2 months. I've been putting little bits of and pieces together on it for the past few months whenever I felt motivated to do so. I mean, Ophelia, who's the girl character in the front, kind of kneeling in a position, and she's been done for since the beginning. She's the first one I drew, and then Daston, who's right behind her, who's her brother. He's he's been a red skeleton for about a couple months. I just finally drew him, and the rest, Alex and Winifred, are the other two. And I just finished drawing them about a few weeks ago, and then I colored them the other day. And then I finally got to shading them, and then I started recording when I started coloring their line art. I was like, meh, I may as well. And I started that last night after I drew my Space Girl thing. Uh, Instead, last time I talked about horror movies. I could probably talk more about that, but I don't really want to. I'm going to talk about these guys instead. They're supposed to be witch characters because I've been in kind of a witch mood. I like witches. These guys, the front two, Daston and Ophelia, are witches. I haven't come up with like a male term for witch yet. I could do like warlock or something, but I kind of just like calling them a witch. I don't care. I'm not following any um, pre-constructed rule book or guide or anything like that. I'm just making it up as I go because I like magic and I like witches and I kind of like the uh, goth styling. Oops, my bad. Sorry about that. But anyway, the idea is that because I didn't want them to pull magic out of thin air because that was the original concept. They just waved their hands, which is fun, but I thought I'd try to like dig a little deeper. So the tattoos, which I'm not sure if they've shown up yet, but when they do, I'll draw them later on, are kind of like a hive up their arms, and as they progress, more hives will appear on their other arm. Um, it's on their right arm for right now, and each little bubble in the hive has a specific rune, and the more concentrated they are on the rune, the bigger that bubble gets. And then so there's like various sizes of bubbles, and Daston, who's kind of been against the whole magic thing his whole life, he's not as far along as Ophelia, who's been all about it since she was a kid, and she's a lot more offensive, whereas he's quite a bit more defensive, concentrated. Defense and healing, because he just wants to do good. And she's a lot more destructive. She's a little chaotic, and which I like her. She's my favorite one to draw. And then behind them are Alex and Winifred. Um, they're oh, what I call them. They're like friends, companions. I can't think of what they would be called right now. They're like linked to them, linked to their magic in some ways. So like an extra bit of aura to tap into. Oh, Oliver, don't step on that. That's expansive. And so I thought they could be on the sidelines, but I thought it'd be a little more fun if they were a little bit into it too. So I gave Alex a sword, which I'm really, really not good at drawing weapons. I'm working on it. This is the first time where I was able to draw them with their weapons, and it didn't look too horrible. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And I gave her a crossbow. I've never drawn a crossbow, so this was an experience. I'll do better next time, I'm sure. I thought the bow and arrow seemed a little overdone, especially with girl characters, and I didn't want her like having a battle axe or anything like that because I didn't want her to be portrayed as like a brute. She plays the violin. She's very delicate, She but I thought a crossbow would be kind of cool. And she can conjure up her best. Whoa, I got a message. Her best Norman Reedus impression. I cannot think of what his character is called right. I haven't watched Walking Dead in quite a few years. Um, but yeah, that's kind of and the big baddie. I'm so bad at coming up with villains, and I've been like wanting it to be a cult because cults are my favorite when it comes to villains because they're so scary and they seem like such an impossible force, which is perfect. But like, I also don't know if I could do a cult right, to be honest. And I don't know if I'd want it to be well, cults are pretty much religious, so I don't know. I don't know if I'd want it to be hyper religious where they're like, oh, we have to burn all the witches and they're trying to live in this, you know, this society as this with this entity always looming over them, always coming after them. And but I don't know. It seems a little overdone. I don't like it as much. It's not jiving with me, if you will. So we'll see. We'll see what I figure out. If I even figure out, maybe it's just I just like drawing witch characters. It doesn't have to be a whole fleshed out thing. Sometimes it's just fun to have fun for the sake of fun. um, but I like them. And really, these characters really just came out of nowhere. Um, I was like laying in bed months ago, and I was like, I just want to think about witches. Like, I just want to think about witch. I think it was October I was doing this. I was like, I want to think about witches. I want to do something with witches, and so I did. And here we are. And I am looking at my thing, and it's saying I'm at 6 minutes and 55 seconds. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for listening to me if you did.